Cut! That's a wrap for today. Director Billy Wilder's voice echoed across the soundstage. The crew exhaled collectively. It had been a brutal 12-hour shoot. Some Like It Hot was running behind schedule, and tensions were high. Marilyn Monroe stood under the hot stage lights in her sequined dress, makeup perfect, smile frozen. But the moment Billy called cut, something changed in her eyes. The smile vanished. She turned and walked off set without a word. Not to her dressing room, not to the makeup trailer. She walked straight toward the back of the soundstage, to the area marked Restricted Access, Studio Personnel Only. Her co-star Tony Curtis watched her go. Where's she going? Nobody answered. Because nobody knew. What happened in the next 30 minutes would shock everyone on set and reveal a secret that Marilyn had been hiding for months, 2 hours earlier. The scene wasn't working. Marilyn had flubbed the same line 17 times. Billy Wilder was patient at first, then frustrated, then angry. Marilyn, it's 4 words. Just 4 words. It's me, sugar. That's all you have to say. Marilyn nodded. I'm sorry, Billy, one more time. Take 18. She forgot the line again. The crew whispered. She's on pills again. Can't remember anything. But Tony Curtis noticed something different. Marilyn's eyes kept darting to the back of the soundstage, to that restricted area, like she was watching for something. Marilyn, Tony whispered between takes. You okay? She looked at him, really looked at him, and for a split second he saw fear. Tony, she whispered back. If something happens to me today, tell them to check the film canisters. The ones in storage room C. What? Marilyn, what are you talking about? But Billy called for take 19. Finally, after take 23, they got the line. Billy called it a wrap, and Marilyn made her move. She walked through the soundstage with purpose. Past the equipment, past the curious stares. She reached the restricted door. It was locked. She pulled a key from inside her costume. The door opened. Tony Curtis made a decision. He followed her. Inside was a dimly lit corridor. Storage rooms lined both sides. Marilyn moved quickly, checking room numbers. She stopped at C4, used another key, went inside. Tony peered through the gap. Marilyn was pulling film canisters off shelves, opening them, examining them, her hands shaking but her movements deliberate. She found what she was looking for, one specific canister. She held it up to the light and her face went pale. My God, she whispered. They actually did it. Tony pushed the door open. Marilyn, what's going on? She spun around. Tony, you can't be here. Neither can you. If studio security catches you, I don't care about security. Her voice was urgent. Tony, do you know what this is? She held up the canister. Film. Footage from the Misfits. Scenes that were cut. Scenes that were supposed to be destroyed. Tony didn't understand. So, they cut scenes from every movie. Marilyn's eyes filled with tears. Because these scenes show the truth. About what really happened on that set. About Clark Gable. About how he died. Tony's expression changed. Clark Gable. He died just days after filming wrapped. Heart attack, they said. Marilyn, Gable died of natural causes. That's what they want everyone to believe. She set the canister down. But I was there, Tony. I saw what happened. And it wasn't natural. Wait a minute. Don't miss this detail. Because what Marilyn was about to reveal would expose a cover-up that went to the top of the studio. Tony closed the door. Tell me everything. Marilyn took a deep breath. During filming, Clark wasn't feeling well. Chest pains, shortness of breath. But the director pushed him to do his own stunts anyway. Actors do stunts all the time, not 70-year-old men with heart conditions. But the studio wanted authenticity. They wanted him to do the dangerous horse-wrangling scenes himself. Her voice shook. I begged them to use a stunt double. So did Clark's wife. But the producers said no, said it would cost too much. What happened? There was one scene. Clark had to chase wild horses in the desert heat, 110 degrees. He did take after take. I saw him struggling, but they kept rolling. She paused. Between takes, Clark collapsed. Right there. The medics rushed over, gave him something, got him back on his feet. And the director said, let's go again. But he survived that day. Barely. And 11 days later, he was dead. They said it was just bad luck. But I knew. The studio worked him to death. Tony processed this. Even if that's true, there's nothing you can do now. That's what I thought. Until last week. She picked up the canister. I got an anonymous call. Said there was footage that proved everything. Footage of Clark collapsing. of the producers arguing about whether to call an ambulance or keep filming. And that footage is in there. The caller said it was supposed to be destroyed, but someone made a copy. Hid it here. Why would someone do that? Marilyn's expression hardened. Because it's happening again. Right now, on this soundstage. Tony's eyes widened. What do you mean? Haven't you noticed? Billy's been pushing us harder. Longer hours, more takes. Yesterday, a camera operator collapsed from dehydration. That's just a demanding director. It's a pattern. These studios don't care about us. We're just products. If we break, they replace us. She clutched the canister. This footage is proof. If I can get this out, maybe I can stop it from happening again. Tony ran his hand through his hair. Marilyn, if you go public, the studio will destroy you. I know. You'll never work in Hollywood again. I know. Then why? Marilyn looked at him. Because staying silent is killing me anyway. Suddenly, footsteps in the corridor. Someone's coming. Marilyn quickly tucked the film canister under her costume. They heard voices. Studio security, check all the storage rooms. Someone triggered the alarm. They were trapped, but the real shock was still coming. Because the person who walked through that door wasn't security. The door burst open. Billy Wilder stood there. Behind him, studio head Jack Warner appeared. Marilyn. Billy's voice was quiet. What are you doing? She hid the canister behind her back. I could ask you the same thing. The security system alerts my office when restricted areas are accessed. Jack Warner stepped forward. What are you doing in my storage facility? These are films. Art, not your property. Everything in this studio is my property, including you. You're under contract. A contract doesn't make me a slave. It makes you legally obligated to follow rules. And you're breaking them. Tony stepped forward. Mr. Warner, perhaps we can discuss this. This doesn't concern you, Curtis. Return to your dressing room. I'm not leaving her. Warner's expression darkened. Then you'll both face consequences. Billy shifted uncomfortably. Jack, maybe... Quiet, Billy. He turned back to Marilyn. Hand over whatever you took. No. Marilyn, I said no. I know what's on this film. I know what you covered up. Warner's face went red. You have no idea. Clark Gable died because you worked him to death. You knew he was sick, but you kept the cameras rolling. That's a serious accusation. It's the truth. And this film proves it. Warner lunged forward. Marilyn jerked back. The canister slipped, hit the floor, popped open. Film spilled out, unspooling across the concrete. Billy Wilder bent down, picked up a strip, held it to the light. His face went pale, Jack, he whispered. This is from the Misfits. The footage of... Shut up, Billy. But Billy kept looking. You can see him clutching his chest. The medics, the producers arguing, Tony looked too. Saw the truth captured in celluloid. You murdered him, Marilyn said quietly. It was not murder. It was an unfortunate accident. He was 70 with a heart condition. And you exploited that. I made him a star. I made all of you. Without us, this studio would be nothing. Marilyn's hands clenched. We're the ones who bleed for your cameras. And you treat us like we're disposable. You are disposable. There are 1,000 girls who would kill for your roles. Billy looked at his boss with disgust. Jack, you can't mean that. I mean every word. Hollywood doesn't need Marilyn Monroe. Hollywood needs the idea of her. If this one becomes difficult, we'll find another. Marilyn's eyes filled with tears. Then I quit. Silence. What? I quit. I'm done. I won't work for people who see me as a product. Warner laughed coldly. You can't quit. You're under contract for 3 more films. Sue me. I'd rather be broken free than rich and enslaved. She picked up the film. And I'm taking this. I'm going to every newspaper. I'm going to tell them what really happens in Hollywood. You'll never work again. Good. Tony made his decision. I'm going with her. Billy looked at them both. So am I. Warner's face was purple. You're all finished. Blacklisted! No, Jack. Billy's voice was firm. You're finished. Because I've been documenting everything. Every unsafe practice. If Marilyn goes to the press, I'm going with her. Warner stared at them. 3 people defying him. You'll regret this. Maybe, Marilyn replied. But at least I'll live with myself. She walked out, film clutched to her chest. Tony and Billy followed. You won't believe what happened next. Because when they walked out of that soundstage, cameras were waiting. Marilyn, Tony, and Billy emerged into bright afternoon sun. They'd expected to walk out quietly. Instead, they were greeted by a crowd. Reporters, photographers, cameras, microphones, dozens of them. Marilyn stopped. What? How? One reporter pushed forward. Miss Monroe, is it true you're exposing a cover-up? Another shouted, did Jack Warner kill Clark Gable? Then they saw him, standing at the back, Arthur Miller, Marilyn's ex-husband. He walked through the crowd. I called them. I knew what you were planning. I made sure you wouldn't have to do this alone. How did you know? Because I know you. Once you decide something is right, you won't back down. He looked at the canister. Is that it? She nodded. Then let's show them. Arthur turned to the crowd. Marilyn Monroe is about to expose one of the greatest cover-ups in Hollywood history. Reporters surged forward. Arthur raised his hand. She'll answer questions. But first, she has something to show you. Marilyn stepped forward. My name is Marilyn Monroe, and I'm here to tell you the truth about Hollywood. For the next hour, she told them everything. About Clark Gable, about working conditions, about the culture of silence. Billy confirmed her story, adding his own experiences. Tony talked about the toll on everyone's mental and physical health. Then Marilyn held up the canister. This contains footage that was supposed to be destroyed. Footage that proves Clark Gable was dying and the studio filmed anyway. Can we see it? A reporter asked. Yes, tomorrow. Any press member who wants to attend is welcome. She paused. And I'm inviting the Screen Actors Guild and anyone else who wants to see how Hollywood really operates. Questions came rapid fire. Aren't you afraid of being blacklisted? Yes, but I'm more afraid of staying silent. What will you do if you can't work? I'll find another way. Theater, independent films, anything that doesn't involve selling my soul. Do you think this will change anything? Marilyn looked at the camera. I hope so, because if it doesn't change now, more people will die. By evening, it was headline news. Marilyn Monroe exposes Hollywood cover-up. Studios accused of working actors to death at home. Marilyn sat with Tony, Billy, and Arthur. Exhausted but relieved. What happens now? Tony asked. Now we wait, Billy said. The phone rang. Marilyn answered. Miss Monroe, this is Robert Stack from the Screen Actors Guild. I just heard your press conference. We believe you, and we're going to do something about it. Really? We've been trying to improve conditions for years. But we needed someone with your courage. Tomorrow, we're calling an emergency meeting. We're going to push for new safety regulations. Tears filled her eyes. Thank you. More calls came. Other actors, directors, industry workers, all grateful, all ready to stand with her. The next morning, the screening was moved to accommodate everyone who wanted to attend. The lights dimmed. The film began, Clark Gable, clearly in distress, clutching his chest. Medics rushing in, producers arguing, their words captured. We can't stop now. Give him something and get him back on set. The studio doctor administering medication to mask symptoms so filming could continue. Clark struggling through take after take. The footage ended. Silence, then applause. Marilyn stood. This is why I spoke up, because this can never happen again. We deserve to be treated like human beings. The Screen Actors Guild head approached. Effective immediately, we're implementing new safety protocols. Mandatory health checks. Limited work hours. Applause erupted. Then Jack Warner arrived. You've made your statement, but you're still under contract. Then sue me. Take everything, but you can't take my voice. Another voice spoke. The studio board director. Actually, Jack, the board has decided to void Miss Monroe's contract. Given the evidence and public attention, the liability is too great. Warner's face went white. You can't. We can. Miss Monroe, on behalf of the board, I apologize. We failed. We're committed to doing better. Marilyn nodded. Not for herself, but for Clark, for all who'd suffered in silence. As she left, a young woman approached. Miss Monroe, I'm an aspiring actress. Thank you. Because of you, maybe I'll have a real chance. Without sacrificing everything, Marilyn smiled. A real smile. You will, and it'll be better, because you won't have to do it alone. 6 months later, Marilyn never worked for a major studio again. But she didn't need to. She founded her own production company, made independent films. Tony and Billy joined her. Together, they created a new model, one where actors had control. The footage was preserved in the National Film Registry, not as entertainment, but as a reminder. Hollywood changed. Slowly, but it changed. New regulations, better conditions, actors who weren't afraid, all because one woman, when the cameras stopped rolling, chose truth over fame. Years later, in an interview, Marilyn was asked, "Do you regret giving up your Hollywood career?" She laughed. I didn't give up my career. I took control of it, but you lost money, opportunities. I lost nothing that mattered. I gained self-respect, integrity, the knowledge that I stood up when it mattered. What would you say to your younger self? I'd tell her that being a star isn't about how bright you shine on screen. It's about what you do when the cameras stop rolling, when no one's watching and you have to choose between easy and right. And you chose right. I tried. I'm not perfect. But when it mattered, I chose people over the system, truth over lies. And I'd make that choice again. The interview ended. Marilyn walked into the sunlight, into her life. A life she'd chosen. She'd lost Hollywood, but she'd found herself, and that was worth more than any role, any fame, any fortune. Because when the cameras stopped rolling, Marilyn Monroe became someone even more powerful than a movie star. She became a person who changed the world. But the story didn't end there. The real battle was just beginning. 3 days after the press conference, Marilyn woke to find her bank accounts frozen. A court order signed by Judge Harold Morrison, the same judge whose name appeared in Dorothy Dandridge's documents. The same judge who attended those private parties. Her lawyer called. Marilyn, they're coming after you with everything. Warner Bros. Is suing for breach of contract. $10 million. I don't have $10 million. They know that. They want to bankrupt you, make an example out of you. Marilyn sat on her bed staring at the lawsuit papers. This was the price. This was what speaking up cost. But then another call came. This time from someone unexpected. Miss Monroe, my name is Ella Fitzgerald. I don't know if you remember, but you helped me once. Marilyn did remember. Years ago, a jazz club in Hollywood refused to book Ella because of her race. Marilyn had called the owner, promised to sit front row every night if they booked her. They did. Ella's career skyrocketed. I remember, Miss Fitzgerald. I heard what you did, what you're going through, and I want to help. I'm organizing a benefit concert. All proceeds go to your legal defense fund. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Because what you did wasn't just for actors. It was for all of us. Every performer who's ever been exploited. Every artist who's been treated like property. Within days, more calls came. Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, all offering support. All willing to perform. The benefit concert sold out in hours. Raised $500,000. Enough to fight the lawsuit, but Jack Warner wasn't done. He called in favors. Suddenly, Marilyn couldn't get a table at any restaurant. Couldn't book a hotel room. Stores refused her service. She was being blacklisted from Los Angeles society itself. One night, she sat alone in her house. No work, no income. Friends too afraid to be seen with her. The phone that used to ring constantly was silent. She looked at the photograph of Clark Gable on her mantle. The one from the Misfits, his kind eyes, his warm smile. Was it worth it, Clark? She whispered. Am I doing the right thing? As if in answer, the doorbell rang. She opened it cautiously. A woman stood there, young, maybe 25, nervous. Miss Monroe, my name is Patricia. I worked as a script supervisor at Warner Brothers. I was fired yesterday. I'm sorry. Why? Patricia pulled out a folder. Because I've been collecting evidence. For months. About the working conditions, the harassment, the cover-ups, and when they found out I was planning to testify in your case, they terminated me. She held out the folder. But I made copies of everything. Production reports showing 16-hour days with no breaks. Medical reports they tried to bury. Emails discussing how to handle difficult actors. All of it. Marilyn took the folder with shaking hands. Why are you doing this? You've lost your job. Because I have a little sister. She's 15 and she wants to be an actress. And I can't let her come to Hollywood and face what I've seen. What you're fighting against. Patricia's eyes filled with tears. You're not alone in this, Miss Monroe. There are more of us. We're just scared. I'm scared too. I know. But you're doing it anyway. And that's making the rest of us brave. Over the next weeks, more people came forward. Camera operators, makeup artists, wardrobe supervisors, set designers. All with stories. All with evidence. The folder grew thicker. Billy Wilder worked day and night, compiling everything into a comprehensive case. Tony Curtis reached out to every actor he knew, building a coalition. Arthur Miller wrote articles, op-eds, anything to keep the story in the public eye. And slowly, the tide began to turn. Newspapers that had been silent started covering the story. Editorials questioning studio practices. Investigative pieces uncovering other cover-ups. The Screen Actors Guild held a vote. 92% of members supported new safety regulations. The Directors Guild followed. Then the Writers Guild, Jack Warner, tried to fight back. He held his own press conference calling Marilyn unstable and vindictive. Said she was a drug addict making wild accusations. But then someone released her medical records. Clean, no addiction, no mental health issues. Just a healthy woman who'd been labeled sick because she dared to speak up. The studio's credibility crumbled. 4 months into the legal battle, Marilyn sat in a courthouse. The preliminary hearing. Her lawyer, Thomas Chen, was brilliant, methodical. He presented the evidence piece by piece, the film footage of Clark Gable, Patricia's documents, testimonies from dozens of crew members, medical records showing the pattern of overwork and neglect. Jack Warner's lawyer tried to dismiss it all. Isolated incidents, unrelated events, a disgruntled employee making mountains out of molehills. But then Billy Wilder took the stand. "I've been directing for 23 years, he said quietly, and I've watched this industry chew people up and spit them out. I've been part of it. I've pushed actors too hard. I've ignored warning signs, because that's what we were taught to do. The show must go on, no matter what." He looked directly at Jack Warner. "But Clark Gable's death changed me. I was there, I saw it, and I did nothing. I stayed silent, and that silence has haunted me every day since. When Marilyn Monroe walked into that storage room, she was doing what all of us should have done years ago. She was saying enough, and she's right. It is enough. It's more than enough." The courtroom was silent. The judge, a different one this time, cleared his throat. "I'll need time to review all evidence. But I will say this. Miss Monroe, your courage in bringing this forward is noted. Regardless of the legal outcome, you've started an important conversation." 2 weeks later, the ruling came down. The lawsuit against Marilyn was dismissed. Judge's reasoning: the defendant's actions while breaching her contract were taken in service of a greater public good. The evidence of systemic negligence and endangerment is substantial and credible. More than that, the judge recommended a criminal investigation into Warner Bros.' practices. Jack Warner's empire began to crumble. Investors pulled out. Stars refused to sign contracts. Within a year, he was forced to step down. But that wasn't the victory Marilyn cared about. The victory was the young actress who came up to her on the street. "Thank you," she said. "I just signed my first contract, and it has safety provisions, rest periods, health monitoring. Because of you." The victory was the mother who wrote her a letter. "My daughter wants to be in movies." I was terrified, but now, knowing there are people like you fighting for change, I can support her dream. The victory was looking in the mirror and recognizing herself. Not Marilyn Monroe, the manufactured image, but Norma Jean, the girl who'd survived, who'd fought, who'd won. Tony Curtis kept his promise. He worked with Marilyn on 3 independent films. Small budget, big heart. They were critically acclaimed, even if they didn't make blockbuster money. Billy Wilder revolutionized his directing approach. Shorter days, actor input, collaborative environment. His next films were his best work. Arthur Miller wrote a play about the events. After the cut, it won the Pulitzer Prize. And Marilyn? She became a teacher. She opened an acting school, but not the kind that taught young people how to be stars. The kind that taught them how to be artists, how to protect themselves, how to recognize exploitation, how to speak up. Her first class had 12 students. Within 5 years, she had 300, actors who would go on to change Hollywood from within. One student, a young man named Marcus, asked her during a lesson, "Miss Monroe, do you ever regret it? Everything you lost?" Marilyn thought about it, really thought about it. "I lost a Hollywood career," she said finally, "but I gained something more valuable. I gained the respect of people who matter. I gained the ability to sleep at night. I gained a purpose beyond just being looked at. And most importantly, I gained the knowledge that when it mattered most, I made the right choice. Not the easy choice, not the profitable choice. The right choice." She looked around at her students. "That's what I want to teach you. Not how to be famous, but how to be human. How to maintain your integrity in an industry that will constantly test it. How to know when to compromise and when to stand firm, because fame is temporary. Integrity is forever." The students wrote down her words, but more than that, they internalized them. They became a new generation of actors, directors, producers, people who'd learned from Marilyn's example. Years passed. The incident became Hollywood legend, but not the manufactured legend of Marilyn Monroe, sex symbol. The real legend of a woman who'd risked everything for what was right. In 1972, Marilyn was invited back to the Academy Awards. Not to present, not to perform, but to receive a special humanitarian award. She almost didn't go. The memories were still painful. But Billy Wilder convinced her. They need to see you, he said. They need to remember what you did, what you stood for. So she went, in a simple black dress. No diamonds, no fur, just herself. When they called her name, the standing ovation lasted 7 minutes. 7 minutes of applause, of recognition, of respect. She walked to the stage, accepted the award, and gave a speech that would be remembered forever. When I was young, she said, I thought success meant being loved by everyone, being desired, being famous. But I learned something. Real success means being able to look yourself in the mirror, means standing up for what's right even when it costs you, means using whatever platform you have to make things better for those who come after you. I didn't do anything special. I just refused to stay silent. And if that's heroic, then every person in this room can be a hero. Every person watching at home can be a hero. All it takes is courage, and we all have that inside us. We just have to choose to use it. She held up the award. This isn't for me. It's for Clark Gable, for Dorothy Dandridge, for every person who suffered in silence, for every person who spoke up and was punished, for everyone who's still fighting. And it's a reminder to all of us that what we do when no one's watching matters, that integrity matters, that each other matters. Thank you. The applause was deafening, but more importantly, people listened, really listened. The next day, 3 more actors came forward with their own stories of abuse. Studios scrambled to implement better policies. The movement Marilyn started continued to grow, and when she died, decades later in her sleep, surrounded by people who loved her, not for her image, but for who she really was, the headlines didn't call her a sex symbol. They called her a pioneer, a hero, a woman who changed Hollywood forever, because that's what she was. And the legacy she left wasn't in films or photographs. It was in the thousands of actors who worked in safer conditions. The thousands of people who found their voice because she'd found hers. The thousands of moments when someone chose courage over comfort. Inspired by her example, that was Marilyn Monroe's real masterpiece. Not a performance for the cameras, but a life lived with integrity when the cameras stopped rolling. And that changed everything.